And we're back. We've got Jamie Emmerson, who's actually the brewmaster at Full Sail. So he's sitting down and talk with me a bit about the love of beer. You're pictured on your website like embracing a big keg. What's that about? You've got to love it.
Oh, it's what's not to love. I tell people it's one of the best jobs in the world. Blue collar work with white collar prestige.
Yeah.
So a lot goes into making beer, and people are willing to tell you honestly what they think about it. You set it on the bar, oh, I love that, or no, give me another pint. And hopefully we've made something, that they will like, and I think we will. We have good flavors from something very mild to something very intense, and hopefully we match something up for the right person with the right beer.
Everything in between.
Everything in between.
Yeah. So like I was, when somebody's got a pint of beer sitting on the bar there or whatever, we look at it as, ooh, that looks good, refreshing, give me some of that. But you're probably looking at it like through different eyes. You're seeing the whole process that had to happen in order for that beer to get there. So what's all the stuff you've got to know, and what's your background there?
Well, you think a lot of people look at beer, they think it's like soda pop, where it just is mixed up and put in a bottle and off you're done. And an average beer takes at least 2 weeks from grain to glass, you could say. And along the way, it's a lot of work, a lot of science is involved. There is a use for organic chemistry and microbiology.
And that's what you majored in?
I actually majored in organic chemistry and German, double majors. Spent my last year of college in Munich, of course, where the beer is really good.
King.
And came back to the United States, and it was right at that about time when 1984, 85, and you just start to hear about a little bit of it, and man, it was a perfect mix of what I had learned of getting the German background, getting the organic chemistry working, and a lot more interesting than working in a hospital. Doctor, lawyer.
Yeah.
All my friends are all these traditional works, and I have the best job of everybody.
Yeah. Well, and your product is something that just about anybody's going to love.
Well,
so,
thank you.
I'm sure you make friends easily.
There is still magic in free beer.
Yes. Well, let's talk about the manual brew house, and that your hops are from local farms in a sense.
Yes.
And you get your water from the I don't know, glaciers of Mount Hood or the springs of Mount Hood or something like that. Tell me about that stuff.
Well, the water is actually Hood River City water, which is Crystal Springs on Mount Hood, which is a deep water or granite well from Mount Hood, and it comes down into the city. And you think about this, 10 years ago, they had a pipe break, and it was wooden pipes back in the day, right? That's how old the stuff is. So all that's been replaced, of course, and up to standards, but it's really beautiful, soft water, great for making beer. Hops are grown in Central Oregon, Willamette Valley, essentially. Also in Yakima, Washington. And so we buy 95% of our hops come from that area. Malt, barley is grown Eastern Oregon, Eastern Washington, Idaho. So everything there is all malted in Vancouver, Washington. So everything very close to us. It makes it for a really nice brewing experience. We're not shipping stuff everywhere. And, all we're doing is making product in the hood.
Yeah. Gotta love that. So what exactly is a microbrew? What is it really versus, like any other beer?
Well, traditionally you would say an industrial national brewer, what they call North American industrial lager beer, is a portion of barley malt, maybe 50%, a portion of rice or corn to fill the rest of the mash bill, and then very delicate flavors. The guys are very talented. They're hard beers to make, but from a stylistic point of view, a lot of people don't find them very interesting. People that are drinking what we would call craft brew. So craft beer tends to be more traditionally based, more beer that would have been brewed 100 years ago, and embracing that stylistically of something that's all malt, the big four ingredients like the Germans, water, malt, hops, and yeast, and more flavorful, more there.
Okay.
And so a microbrew, you could say, is a beer, again, a brewery that's maybe less than 15,000 barrels production. Then you get into this region of craft brewing up to, say, 2 million barrels. And then once you're above 2 million barrels, they consider it to be a national. But the size doesn't have to necessarily do with the moniker, because you could make really good beer on a large scale. The scale doesn't change the quality level.
Okay. So you've got this thing on your website where you basically take questions from the public, and you answer these questions. What are some? You've got to have some classics that you've received.
Well, the normal one is how many calories or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Because I think a lot of people, they think light beer is like diet soda. There's 0 calories, which is that's false. Light beer has got 90 calories, 100 calories. Regular beer is maybe 135, 150. but that's a constant thing all the time. Or is our beer vegan, which is, of course, we're not using any fillers or additives or anything. It's just water, malt, hops, and yeast. But then you get like more outrageous ones like, tell me exactly how you make Full Sail Amber.
Oh yeah, let me give you the recipe.
Yeah, let me give you the recipe. Or a lot of them is where can we find it?
Okay.
Which is always a lot of fun. But I get all sorts of stuff,
Yeah.
and some not repeatable.
Okay, fair enough. So do you think that it's the science behind the beer or just the love of making beer? Which one do you think weighs out, or are they kind of equal for you?
Actually, I am intrigued by both entirely, because for me it was mastering the art and science of brewing, because there is a great deal of science behind it. It's a lot of cleaning, it's a lot of microbiology work, it's a lot of attention to detail, which I really like. I'm a lab guy, right? Then the other end, you have something that people are drinking, and that idea of what makes the flavors good as opposed to bad, and how you hit a style that people come in and say, hey, I like a pale ale. Oh, I got a pale ale for you that you're going to really like. And that to me is very intriguing, because people are honest. I mean, wine, it's kind of bizarre. You go to a restaurant, they pop a bottle of wine. Do you like it? Oh, yeah, it's fine. You don't send it back very much. But beer, people are like, I want a different one. Give me a different one. Or, oh, I really like it. And that honesty is intriguing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it probably they drink a little more, the more honest they get, I would assume.
Yes, I think you're right.
So what do you think about these beers that are now coming over from abroad that are like 40-50% alcohol? To me, that sounds like it would taste terrible.
I would assume they're very viscous. I've not actually had one. What you do, the first people to make one was a German brewery that was about 12%. It was an ice bock. So they took a bock beer, which is a strong lager beer, and froze the water out of it, because alcohol has a lower freezing point. Then you would concentrate it by removing the water that way. So some of these guys have done that. They've frozen water out of it, and what you're left was thicker and more viscous and heavier, but you're also getting more alcohol. And now at a certain point, I think they're using a type of filter, a reverse osmosis filter, to take the water out to get these incredibly high, strong beers. 40% alcohol is like vodka. That's 80 proof.
Yeah.
And it's got to just be like syrup,
It sounds terrible. Do you think it'll ever make a foothold here?
I don't know. I mean, is it beer even? I mean, it's a beer drink maybe.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure. I mean, to me, I like beer.
Right. So no plans to go that route?
No. I mean, no distilling, none of that stuff. No.
Yeah. Do you think beer can ever be perfected?
I think you always work with it. I think that's what it comes down to. People want to have the same beer all the time, which is an interesting conundrum, because it still is an agricultural product. You still have harvest every year. And someone said beer is a beverage of intent, which means that we control all that stuff, so that when you open a bottle of amber, it tastes like amber. Where wine, they pull it in and, hey, this year was great, or 2006 was really good, but beer isn't allowed that.
Right.
So you always are constantly maneuvering to make sure that it always tastes like it should taste. Refine the process, refine the flavors. That's part of the intrigue. It's never the same.
Yeah.
Well, the beer is the same.
Right. Yeah, no. Yeah, people don't want to go buy a six-pack that tastes very different than what they just bought last week.
Exactly.
They expect it to be the same. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Well, hey, we could talk about this for a long time, obviously. Something I certainly don't mind spending time talking about. But we're out of time, so it's been a pleasure having you on. I thank you for enlightening us a little bit, and we will see you next time on Localite. Thanks again for joining us. John Compton here saying thanks again for watching. And remember, if you've got a guest idea, let us know. Just visit localite.com.